Last night, the Patriots missed out on an opportunity. Keenan Allen was traded from the Chargers to the Bears for a fourth-round pick. Absolutely maddening, infuriating. I am continued to be more and more perplexed as to what plan the Patriots have. And there's honestly nobody has made a point to either clarify or to defend it other than Tom Curran, who said that the Patriots weren't going to sign Ridley because what's the point? They didn't get DeAndre Hopkins because of Bill Belichick. Right now, what's the point? Basically blaming Bill, I guess, is some nebulous reason why they're not signing Calvin Ridley. All of this is to say, I don't believe there is a single Pats fan that understands and can explain what the team is doing. And it feels like the Red Sox, the conversations we had in spring training.
There's only one explanation.
What's that?
They are in on T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, or Brandon Ayuk for a trade partner. They are in on them saying, okay, we're going to trade for them. And then once we do, we have to give those guys a new contract. So we need to save that money that we would have spent on Calvin Ridley because we're going to be taking all of that money and giving it to one of those players.
That's fine, but then why aren't you getting one of the lower tiered receivers? Like, why wouldn't you go after a guy like Curtis Samuel, who costs $8 million a year?
So I'll give you the Curtis Samuel and Hollywood Brown. Keenan Allen, obviously you would trade for him, but they got their sights set on trading for one of those other big wide receivers. So maybe those guys, I'll give you that. Maybe their approach is, we're going to trade for one of those wide receivers, and then we're going to draft another wide receiver. So rather than get one of the lower tier free agent wide receivers, they might be thinking we're going to try to hit on a third-round wide receiver. That's the only explanation.
But you can do both.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't sign Calvin Ridley and potentially trade for T.
Yes,
Higgins.
you could.
Well, you're going to be spending a lot of money on your wide receivers.
They have like $50 million in cap space right now.
Yeah, but how much if you trade for a Brandon Ayuk, a Justin Jefferson, or a T. Higgins, that one player alone is going to be probably north of $30 million.
Yes, but that new contract won't kick in until next year.
Right, but
so hold on. So the extension won't kick in until next year. So then you really only have to deal with having the two contracts on your record for 1 year. Because the Calvin Ridley deal is basically 2 for $51. So you're only dealing with 1 year of having both high-paid receivers on your roster. Well, and that's next year. It's not even this year.
Because you're going to have to give one of those other guys. Calvin Ridley got $51 million in guaranteed?
Yeah.
You're going to have to give one of those other guys about $75 million in guaranteed money.
So here's why the Patriots can spend whatever they want. Their quarterback is making $8 million. The other top rosters in the NFL, whether it's Burrow with the Bengals or Mahomes with the Chiefs or Allen with the Bills or Lamar Jackson with the Ravens now with his deal, that are making 40, 50. Justin Herbert with the Chargers is making another $40 to $50 million a year. You have so much money to spend, and there is so many holes you need to fill. And you sit there and imagine the conversation today if Elliott Wolf last night executed a trade, a fourth-rounder for Keenan Allen. All the Ridley talk literally disappears.
Yep.
You sit back and you're like, okay, Keenan Allen and Bourne, you got Hunter Henry, you got Onwenu.
Pop Douglas is still there.
We're figuring things out. We're moving in the right direction. And it's not only that, like, it is so enraging to me as someone who grew up loving these teams, demanding they do more than what they were doing, for fans to say, what's the point of investing? We're not close. When did that shift in Boston? When did it become tolerable for fans that the team would just not spend because a championship wasn't around the corner? Like, I sat directly across from Craig. Was it Craig? Why am I saying Craig?
Kimbrell.
Craig Breslow.
Oh,
hello.
Breslow.
What is the Noro's back?
No.
And I said, how will spending $20 million on a starting pitcher this year impact or damage future years?
You threw him off a little bit with that question.
Because there's nothing you can say.
Yeah.
There's nothing would happen.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. If you signed Ridley for $30 million a year for 3 years and you guaranteed it all, it's just money. It's not going anywhere. You can spend it. The team has plenty of it. and I don't understand the fan base that's giving them a longer leash than they deserve. Let's go to your calls quickly before Courtney. Tim in Hanover on Pats fans right now.
Guys, thanks for letting me talk. I'll tell you what, I was just saying to the screener, I'll tell you what, we wound up waiting 4 years. We're watching these guys. We're not the finance operations of the Pats, but I'll tell you what, they've wasted millions of dollars on talent that they did have on the team, and they watch it every year that they let it go by. And I'll tell you what, we're not getting any closer. We're going backwards.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I told you these are your options, because they may be thinking we can get Justin Jefferson for a first-round pick where they give up a first-rounder. They then might take Marvin Harris.
They're not getting Justin Jefferson.
Wiggy,
I'm
this
sorry.
Hold on. No, it's not a dream. Tyreek Hill
Yep.
was drafted for 1 first-round pick. Devontae Adams for Green Bay, 1 first-round picks. So you might be able to get and those two are just as good as Justin Jefferson.
How old?
Wait. Tyreek Hill went for a first, a second, and a fourth, plus a fourth and sixth in the next draft.
Right. So you're gonna. What I'm
That's
saying
way
is,
more than just one.
No. But I'm saying you're only gonna have to come out of pocket 1 first round, not multiple first rounders. Is my point.
But also a second rounder.
Yeah,
which
I got
is
no
very
issues
valuable.
with that. Who gives a crap? You could potentially, because you asked Curtis, what could they be doing?
Right.
So they could potentially be saying, here's what we're going to do. Minnesota, we're going to give you a first-round pick in next year's draft, plus a second, third, whatever the hell else you want to give them. They take Marvin Harrison at number 3. They might go in that direction. Then they might trade for a Justin Fields. So your wide receiver room could look like Justin Jefferson, who they then will pay a bunch of money to, Marvin Harrison on a rookie deal.
But why wouldn't the Vikings demand this year's first? Because they could trade just like the
You mean trade up?
Right. So the Vikings traded the pick that became. The Vikings acquired the pick that became Justin Jefferson as part of the Tyreek Hill, as part of the Steph Diggs trade.
Yes.
Correct. Steph Diggs trade.
So why wouldn't the Vikings then seek to trade Justin Jefferson for the 3rd overall pick to get Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Well, because New England might say, we're not going to give you that. We'll give
if
you.
I'm the Vikings, that is, if I want to get, I think they're in the market for a quarterback, so
They might say,
yeah, that's why they would want to. If you're going to trade, if you're going to get Justin Jefferson, it's going to be because you're trading number 3, not because you're trading next year's
But
first.
my point is that if you want Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, or Brandon Ayuk, it will cost you just 1 first-round draft pick, whether it's next year's or whatever, right? If you don't want to come off of this year's, because I'm trying to figure out what are they doing and potentially not signing some of these other guys. And when they trade for those guys, they're instantly going to give them a new contract is going to be north of $125 million, right? 70+ million in guaranteed money. And then that's where we're all going to go, okay, this is why they didn't sign Calvin Ridley.
All right, if that happens, I'll be thrilled. And we're going to make an executive decision. We're going to get to the news next, Courtney. We're running a bit behind here.
No worries.
Let's go to Matt in Connecticut. Go ahead, Matt.
Yes, I'd just like to call and say, first-time caller, I love the show. I'd just like to know why they didn't call in or make any calls on Keenan Allen, because they definitely could have sent at least something over. And I'd also like to say, until Henry sells the team, I don't really see the Red Sox really going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, the Red Sox are not, in a great spot. Although, positive news for the division, bad news for the Yankees with Garrett Cole's injury. I don't know how much that will impact the Red Sox, but certainly not good news for the Yankees. When it comes to Keenan Allen, it's kind of indefensible. It really, to me, what it means now, and this just came to me, they were never really in on Ridley. They were doing that for window dressing. Because if you really were this close to signing Calvin Ridley with guaranteed dollars, I don't think they've ever allocated for a receiver at any point in Kraft's ownership of the team, then this would have been a logical next step.
they probably knew how much he was getting offered by the Titans, like you said yesterday, and they're like, all right, well, all we can offer, 88's our top. So then they don't have to spend anything. It's exactly what you said. You can be so close, you can be in the conversation, but then you don't have to spend any money.
Right. And that's why I said, as far as the...
It's like those scratch tickets. The $1 million is always like number 8, and you have number 9. And you're like, I was so close.
But like I told you, the other thing could be with the free agency period is they might, and this is the only thing that I'm thinking about, and right now I'm upset of where they are. But the other thing is they could be saying we are making a legitimate run at 4 potential trade wide receivers, because the other wide receiver, I don't know if you saw, is Deebo Samuel. Supposedly the Ravens called about potentially, having, wanting to trade for a guy like him. So he potentially might also be on the trading block because they're not going to be able to keep both Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel.
They just signed him to a massive contract. They're not trading.
So why was there reports out there with the Ravens having a conversation with the 49ers? All I'm saying,
they were denied. Those reports were denied by the GM.
All I'm saying is that there is a potential. And this is the only thing I could see with the Patriots, because everybody knows they need a wide receiver. The only thing I see is they might be in for one of those guys, and they're going, we're not going to waste our money or allocate money to guys when we know we're going to have to pay the guy that we trade for a ton of money. Yeah. That's the only piece of hope that I have that they could potentially be doing.